How y'all doing? Hope you're having a terrific day out there. Just decided to kick this off a few minutes early. Why not? I see some people waiting for today's episode. I hope you're as excited to continue the Fall of the Cabal series that Janet has put together for us all. What a blessing. What a gift. What a hero. What an amazing woman. Can we just keep in mind that y'all know I love that saying from Socrates, and I'm not trying to seem smart in stating these things. It's just something that's hit so profoundly for me, where he stated, there is one good knowledge and one evil ignorance. How crucial it is, whether I'm wrong, whether Janet's wrong, that we not stay ignorant and seek knowledge on these things. Then we will be more protected. We won't fall prey, as likely prey, to evil's enslaving tyrannical, destructive nature. This is biblical, folks. 110%. Go ahead and kick this off on Instagram. Why not? But I freaking love you guys. I appreciate all your support. Help us get the message out today. If not Unmuzzled Chat's episode with me rambling along the way, please share the links in the description below to Janet's episodes directly of the Fall of the Cabal. The last two, my goodness, what was it? 17, 18. Yes, because we'll be going through 19 and 20 today. All right, that music's kind of annoying me. I don't know about you. But individually, yesterday's episodes to be sent out are powerful red pill kind of episodes. So what a gift. So before we dive in, you know what? Let's read the 1 minute prayer, because I need guidance. I need assistance. I need to get over my flaws, my character defects, the disease bioweapon I'm faced with, Lyme disease, and let in the fruit of the Spirit, because that clearly has the power to reel me in more. And I just want to be more effective. So with that, welcome to a Muzzled Chat. Today's read, the title says success. And the title's Building a Life. And it's going to quote a scripture from First Chronicles 22:11 through 12. It states, "Now my son, the Lord be with you, and may you have success and build the house." You know what? Let's keep in mind as we go through this read, success isn't all just bank account. Success could be flourishing of a family unit, of a country, of health, of a relationship with our God. "Now, my son, the Lord be with you, and may you have success and build the house of the Lord your God." And he said, you would. "May the Lord give you discretion and understanding when he puts you in command over Israel." See, that verbiage makes sense. Israel as God's people, not a dot on a map, like it's being misused. And evil's behind a lot of that. "So that you may keep the law of the Lord your God." The prayer reads, "I have heard many speakers on the topics of success and life management. Those that have the most influence on me are those who unknowingly borrow material from the true source, you and your word. You know what? I'll admit, I built up quite the library on Audible prior to really tapping into podcasts. And let's just say the majority of them would be paperweights if I had them sitting on the shelf now, because they genuinely weren't tapping into the forever true word of God. Why was I was so lost? I was seeking self-improvement through other lost individuals. Does that even make sense? I will only really cherish and put more value to those that are tapped into the fruit of the Spirit. 100%. You and your word, even non-Christians, understand the importance of starting with a solid foundation to build a solid life. I love that. How fleeting our memories are in this mortal existence to truly absorb. That's why we got to continually dive into this stuff. It's like we're really dealing with levels of amnesia we've never experienced before. God, make my life a house of the Lord. Guide me to use strong, worthy materials. I pray this prayer as I heed your instruction for each step. The process involves determination, prayer, and sweat. And because my cornerstone is Christ, this is a life worth building. My goodness, I love that. I'm grateful. Amen. It's a good way to start it off. At least I'm happy with it. Hope that helped give you a little bit more direction for your day. A stronger foundation, if you will. So, right before we dive into the fall of the Cabal, I got something that's weighing on me, and I don't know if you guys are all experiencing it too. But I've had individuals in my life, one's pretty close to me, struggle and are still struggling, and some have passed. And it seems as though it is directly correlated to what is known as the COVID-19 vaccination. What a difficult situation it in fact has become. Because when these individuals start suffering, when they pass, it seems there's this divide. Rarely as I hear other individuals in this situation, rarely do I hear that they all, let's say in the funeral setting, can talk about the source of the issue. Whether it was someone young, whether it was someone old. And that to even question potentially whether this shot had a role in their suffering and their death or not. It seems more so in these direct situations that I'm dealing with, and I keep hearing others dealing with, that it's an untouchable topic. And I'm trying my best to go about this in a very peaceful, calming way. Because my natural self would want to get fired up and already start yelling about the situation. Or not yelling, just very passionately. Because we know. I mean, if you're an Unmuzzled Chat Warrior, you know my stance. We've brought the receipts. We've brought the information. How is it this shirt reigns so true today? That truth has truly become the new hate speech. Even in regards to what I'm talking about here right now. The very truth. Because let's just say for a second, yes, it had some type of role to play in which let's say not all of the situations that's true, but some of them are. Let's just say that. How many of those truthful situations can you not even talk about it because it truly is deemed hate speech? It's like you get shut down. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and pull up this post because we're going to gear up for a quick clip right before the fall of the Cabal. I cannot wait. And it's from none other than Dr. McCullough here. Does a fantastic job. But before we play the clip, it's like, how has evil become so effective on programming us to where, I mean, someone wise just earlier today talked to me about this and even brought up like God's commandments and whatnot. And that's why I wanted to start with scripture, just kind of get more in the fruit of the Spirit. I still feel my mortal self getting in my own way. Forgive me for that. I really wish I could hit this out of the park for you and all your loved ones. So we'd actually create right here, right now, a effective tool, an effective seed for you to plant in these situations. That's what we need to create. I need your help. Any individual that's been in this situation and they've actually been successful in confronting and having the conversations to plant these seeds, because we all know where ignorance regarding the situation is going to lead versus the knowledge of the actual root of the issue we're dealing with. Sorry, I don't mean to be too drug out here, but this is a very big issue. And I believe this, if you think about it, the less we properly address it, the more we're going to perpetually end up in this position of people being sick and dying on us. Because the fact of the matter is the shot is still available. They're still advertising very heavily for more shots. They're integrating it and they're putting clever, commercial for flu and COVID combinations. It's now reported that there are three approved integrated mRNA shots now integrated into the childhood vaccine program. 3 of them. So not only is it going to perpetually happen, it could perpetually get ramped up to the detriment for all of us. So in a way, it is bigger than the individual that's sick. It's bigger than the individual that even passed. So it's one of those things like, how have individuals been so, we'll get on the programming side of it. But think about it. So this wise individual talked even like commandments and love thy God with all thy heart, might, it's one of them. And then the other one is love thy neighbor as you love thyself. And the majority of us in this situation that are showing up with information, trying to get to the root of the issue, we understand that it is more loving to talk on this, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how it might even infuriate some individuals. It's like, look, that's not our intent. We're showing up out of love. So who in that situation is not loving thy neighbor? It's kind of clear. The programming. Maybe these individuals got the shot. Maybe they're living out of fear. There are some great hurdles included here in regards to this programming. We must find more effective ways in breaking through. And how it's bigger than those individuals, you could see. Because without addressing and planting the seeds and get people to source their information and see how damning it is, like not only like will they continue in ignorance to potentially get more shots themselves, they're going to continue to, under the illusion of health services and what's good for their children, continue with the childhood vaccine schedule, right? So it's like, has the programming become so effective? It's like, just think of the stove. My gosh. It's like they want to shoot the messenger. It's like, don't touch the stove. It's going to burn you. In this case, it could kill you. But they're getting mad. Don't even talk about it. Don't even bring it up. Help me. Help me become effective in providing good solutions and help planting seeds. It is so important. This is 5th generation warfare. And as we play, let's just play Dr. McCullough here. Absorb this. Like, this is my plea, even attached. How do we share this information with family and friends that still believe it was safe and effective as our loved ones die? They do not even want to consider it as the culprit and shut down the conversation. More poisoning will result if we cannot get through to them. 5th generation warfare. That's my plea to you today. Please consider reaching out to me personally, or consider coming guesting on the podcast and speak how you've been effective, or how you feel is going to be most effective. And this wise individual did talk to me about being really in tune with the fruit of the Spirit in these situations. So you speak when you feel prompt to speak. And we're continually cognizant as to whether it's our will or His will. I just don't want to see more innocent life needlessly suffer due to these things. The individuals I'm seeing going through this, it's horrific. It's horrific. The mortal man in me wants to just point at the sufferer to the ones that love and are gathering around and just like, look, do you potentially want to be in that bed, in that position? Because there is overwhelming information that we were duped. That this is war tactics. And there was so much manipulation behind it. We can prove it if you would just open your heart and your mind. There's so many angles. I mean, so many ways to formulate words. How do we do it? But this right here, if you could get them to just absorb this singular clip.
As a doctor, I have never seen something so injurious to the human body. It invades the brain. It invades the heart. It causes brain and heart damage. It invades the bone marrow. It stimulates antibodies to actually start to attack our own platelets and our other cells in our body. It causes blood clotting and damage to blood vessels like we've never seen. Data from University of Pittsburgh suggesting it causes cancer. Since when do we have a protein that actually injures the brain, injures the heart, bone marrow, the immune system, causes blood clotting, and potentially causes cancer in a single protein?
Right.
It's a weapon. In fact, there are 3 papers, one by Farkas, published in Military Medicine, two by Yen, published in preprint. They've actually concluded it is a bioweapon. It is a bioweapon. According to strict military criteria, it's a bioweapon. As a doctor,
So obviously, it's like their free agency with the war machine of information, the fact checks that evil spun up, the censorship regime, the way that they've projected on others is misinformationists when they have proven proven. We've proven it time and time again that they themselves are the misinformationists. They demonized things that were beneficial. They stood up things that were harmful. It is clear as day. I mean, I don't know if you can see the write-up, but once to go over it again, it invades the brain. It invades the heart. It causes brain and heart damage. It invades bone marrow. It stimulates antibodies to cell and pallets. It causes blood clotting and damage to blood vessels like we've never seen. Cancers, all sorts of. This is all, this very list, these ones close to me, dealt with and are no longer with us, and ones are currently dealing with. But as I have the conversations like, well, did they get this shot? Yes. Come to find out, yes. Multiple. And is it being considered? Oh, it was brought up by so-and-so and it was shut down. Like, it's not to be discussed. That's going to lead us down a road of ignorance to where more people end up suffering. More people end up poisoned. Think about it. My goodness. It's like if we were loading people up on trains to send them to gas chambers. Like, no, we're sending them to the promised land. And the media has said all that, so we just believe it. But we start getting a little information. Someone actually comes back, survives the gas chamber, and whistle blows a bit. Only wakes up a certain amount of people. They still load their family trying to get to the promised land. It's really... We must be willing to acknowledge the reality of the world we're living in today and how infiltrated evil has become, how effective it's become through its minions. It's why I love this series from Janet, The Fall of the Cabal. What a gift. Doesn't this truly break it down for us all and shine the light? Like, my gosh, it shows everything from the intent, the buildup, to everything during, after. It's more than I could even sum up in this moment. So with all that being said, that is a cry. That is a plead from me to all of you. It's not just me in this situation. Obviously, you know me. I'm going to be unmuzzled. But I'm going to be listening to some of my loved ones. I have mad respect. But I got to plant seeds where I could plant seeds. I guess at the end of the day, it's most important to be walking in the fruit of the Spirit and fulfilling God's will more than our own. Because at the end of the day, He gave us free agency. And, you know, there is a silver lining in some of these situations where, as someone suffering is bringing the family together, there can be, through God, great positive that takes place in great challenges. So maybe in certain situations, it is more important to cherish. It's hard for me to say this, but to cherish the positive relations you can have with loved ones versus, I don't know, creating division. You're not trying to create division. That's not the intent, but that could be the outcome. So it's very sticky, icky, tricky situation. I don't like it. Gotta find ways to break through. Episode 17, 18, powerful seeds. That clip from Dr. McCullough, powerful seeds. The floodgates are open. We've provided thousands of them at this point. But I appreciate you all. I love you all. I want the best for us all. Let's, as a community, let's figure out a stronger, clearer path to break through. Drop comments. Please reach out to unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. I would love to have you on. With that, let's go. Cynthia and Janet. Here here we go. A virus that was never isolated and thus never proven to exist. A virus so dangerous it killed the ability to think. It killed logic and it killed common sense. It helped politics crush science. It swallowed societies like an avalanche of insanity. Let's see how it started and how clever it was unrolled. I apologize. My supplements are making my gut spin a little. I apologize.
Let's continue where we left off, shall we? Here we are in the midst of a pandemic caused by a virus that was never isolated and thus never proven to exist. But for some reason, politics is almighty powerful compared to science. Right. And so, insanity struck to the point where the world would never be the same again.
Oh my God. Oh, that's so sad.
It started with social distancing and face masks. Every news channel, every newspaper, every talk Superman. Show, all they could write, talk and scream hysterically about was COVID-19.
Right.
Road signs appeared, reiterating the importance of social distancing. By keeping a distance of at least 6 feet or 1.5 meters, one would be safe. If you ignored, you could die.
Nonsense.
Or worse, you could kill somebody else. Hugging belonged to the past. Any form of physical closeness was potentially extremely dangerous. Repetition, repetition, repetition. 24/7. Combined with horror stories from Italy, we, the people, got scared.
That's how they built up the programming.
Wave, not of a virus, but of fear, hit the shores of just about every country in the world. And when fear takes over, rational thinking becomes difficult, if not impossible. Nobody told us that the Italians who died during that first so-called outbreak were of very old age. They had all been vaccinated early 2019 with an experimental flu shot, a cocktail of 4 different types of influenza, among which H1N1, the swine flu. When they were hit with the autumn flu, their immune system was down. They didn't stand a chance. Then, the first official numbers were published. Mostly old people were dying of this monster virus. Children were perfectly safe, and adults were as good as safe. The elderly had a 5.5% chance of dying. Those who pointed out that a survival rate of 94.5% was pretty darn good for people who had already outlived the average life expectancy.
Okay, so since you can't define COVID, right, because it hasn't been isolated and has defective testing, couldn't that 5.whatever% actually just be the regular cold and flu? Yeah, the world death clock never changed. They obviously needed to ramp up more deaths. Once again, why they integrated such a murderous protocol into our hospitals, aka remdesivir, when it killed so many in its Ebola trial. Anyway, let's go.
Was scorned for being selfish, extremely irresponsible, and racist. How dare they?
Oh, God.
The epidemiology modelling team at Imperial College London, led by the physicist Neil Ferguson, presented their official predictions. If nothing was done to stop this virus, 81% of the US population would be infected, of which 2.2 million would die.
Wow.
The UK would count 510,000 deaths. My, those predictions were absolutely horrifying.
Crying
God
wolf.
only knows why Neil Ferguson and Imperial College London were asked for their opinion in the first place. They had a history of highly exaggerated numbers that were always
money.
Way off.
Where's the money?
According to the American Institute for Economic Research, although Ferguson's team has a bad habit of falsely claiming credit for saving millions of lives premised upon these apocalyptic numbers, the truth is they all amounted to wild exaggerations from a fundamentally flawed model. Why on earth did UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson listen to this disgrace of a scientist? Would you believe a man who predicted the following in the past? 2002, Ferguson predicted 150,000 people would probably die in the UK as a result of BSE in beef. Really? Well, no. In reality, only 177 people died. 2005.
Wow.
Ferguson predicted 150 million people would probably die as a result of the bird flu.
Wow.
In reality, only 282 people died worldwide.
Oh my gosh.
2009. Ferguson predicted 65,000 people would probably die in the UK as a result of the swine flu. In reality, only 457 people died. Would you choose this man, of all scientists
So
out there,
telling.
to advise your government on how to handle COVID-19 in your country? When Ferguson was confronted with his fundamentally flawed model and his huge mistakes, he tried to blame the model, stating it was 13 years old and not really made for COVID-19,
Wow.
but for a flu epidemic in general. Then, when he was asked to share his model with the scientific world, he refused. Why? Because he knew perfectly well it was complete and utter bullshit. It took him 6 months to rewrite the model and present something that still didn't make any sense.
We do not accept your excuses, sir.
When Ferguson was asked why the real UK numbers were so much lower than his predictions, his prompt answer was that this was because of his excellent recommendations. When confronted with a situation in Sweden that refused to lock down or implement any other severe COVID restrictions, yet had quite low COVID casualties, his answer was that no doubt the numbers could have been much lower if they had implemented his brilliant recommendations.
Really?
On top of everything else, he ignored his own advice and thus the COVID restrictions by inviting his secret lover into his home.
Wow.
When this became
Of course.
common knowledge, he resigned from his position as a government advisor on SAGE, the Scientific Advisory Group for Emergencies. Wow, how noble and just. If it weren't for the fact that that too was just another lie. Until today, Ferguson is part of both SAGE and Advisory Committee SPY M. He also is acting director of the Vaccine Impact Modelling Consortium based at Imperial College London and financed by Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that actually owns Gavi and that granted Imperial College London millions of dollars. Long story short,
We have an amazing comment here. Thank you, Wildly Exuberant. I'm ready to hear the truth, even though it hurts. It can be scary. But once again, I mean, golly, it's like the Matrix or there's a million scenarios. Ignorance isn't bliss. And for those that, I'm not here to demonize anyone that got manipulated, anyone that got coerced. There was so much infrastructure, money, just war tactics, MK Ultra, if you look into it, mind control, mass psychosis. There was so many things implemented to lead up and build as much momentum as possible. So I'm not here to point the finger at anyone that got coerced, manipulated, pressured, whatever, that got it. Because once again, more than likely, if I were in your shoes, I would have made the same decisions, right? I would have made the same decisions. So it just puts more so the emphasis on sourcing information, such as this beautiful series Janet put together, The Fall of the Cabal, because it goes beyond the scope of even COVID. She shows all the other war tactics in the same individuals behind it all. It's time we go after the head of the snake. Thank you for the comment. Sorry for the interrupt. It's not an interrupt. It's all part of the. We need more comments. We need more people engaging to really come up with solutions. Do not discredit the impact you yourself could have. There could be biblical references, testimonials, situations you've dealt with that could very, very black and white shine the light on what took place here. And who knows to the impact that could have in the lives that could save from people blindly going and getting their flu shot or following the childhood vaccine schedule. RFK's doing wonders for us all now. He literally was exposing like the actual studies regarding any of the childhood vaccine. I mean, I should have queued up that clip to play it. He speaks it so well. They even went after Fauci because they say they have the studies and he legally pursued him, and they couldn't provide him a single one on a single of the 80 childhood vaccine shots. Yet whether it was safe, yet they definitely are unable to provide what other now scientists and doctors and everyone's providing, looking at numbers and hashing out unvaccinated versus vaccinated. And that is insanely telling. It's so eye-opening. It's so freeing. Knowledge truly will set us free. And I'm so grateful that we live in a time that we can actually source free information like on Rumble, like podcast apps. I answer to no one other than our loving Creator, which is just fueling me to the best of my ability, help us achieve the best version of ourselves and secure a better, brighter future. That's it. Other than that, this is a hill I'm willing to die on. And I'm going to continue till these threats diminish. More than likely, they won't in this existence. And whether I share the same fate as Janet, so be it. Let's freaking go. We got this together,
Once again,
folks.
we are witnessing utterly corrupted politics and bribed science, working together to impose something on the people that the people hadn't asked for to begin with. Professor Lockdown and Boris Johnson rolled out a strategy to take the freedoms away from the British people under the pretense of protecting them against a killer virus that didn't exist. But that they kept to themselves. And so, in 2020, government policies were quickly adapted to Ferguson's hysteric and completely unrealistic warnings. New restrictions were laid out. We were no longer to visit our elderly parents and grandparents.
Come on.
No hugging.
Oh,
Definitely
so sad.
no hugging. And preferably no visits in general. Children were told in school that they might kill their grandparents if they disobeyed.
So bad.
This insane and inhumane programming led to deep emotional and psychological trauma.
Oh my gosh.
Feelings of guilt overtook these children, who were told they were basically murderers in waiting, unless, of course, they did as they were told by the government, completely overruling and ignoring their own feelings. When they screamed for their grandparents, they were told off about how selfish they were.
Wow.
Shame was added to their feelings of guilt. Some people stood in front of the care homes and sang songs for the abandoned elderly, but the police removed them. They were attracting attention to the site and the situation, and that was not desirable. The elderly were isolated from the rest of society and from their families.
This is
Many
war.
became depressed and lost their will to live.
This is war.
Many died as a result, not from COVID, but from loneliness.
Ugh, breaks my heart.
Families were torn apart. Feelings of guilt,
They
shame,
still are.
anger and grief became common ground. Yet, the people complied.
Right.
There was another reason why so many elderly died during the first wave in the spring of 2020. And this is where it gets really shocking. In March 2020, the British people were told to stay at home in order to protect the NHS and to save lives. The authorities just needed 3 weeks to flatten the curve. What happened in those 3
Unbelievable.
weeks? First of all, many hospitals were ordered to move elderly patients with respiratory problems to care homes. As many as possible, which is rather strange when you think about it.
Right.
I mean, people are not administered to a hospital for fun, right? But it happened. On March 19, a directive was sent out to the NHS saying all patients who did not require a hospital bed had to be discharged, as in right now.
Wow.
The NHS workers were obliged to follow the new directive. They had precisely 1 hour to get those patients out of bed and into their clothes, after which they had another 2 hours to take them from the hospital to their new home, in most cases a care home. Did those patients have a voice in this at all? No, they did not. Their beds had to be empty for COVID-19 patients, those poor sufferers of a virus that had not been proven and would never be proven to exist.
Wow.
This directive was most efficient, as you can see in this graph. only 62% occupancy of hospital beds remained. 30% down compared to previous years. So, what happened to those patients who ended up in care homes? They were euthanized. Do we have evidence for such a brutal claim? Yes, we do.
Wow.
But we must warn you, for this is truly as ugly as it possibly gets.
Right.
You might even realize for the first time what happened to your parents or grandparents and why they suddenly died.
Right.
You see, all of a sudden, in April 2020, there was a great increase in deaths in care homes. No less than 26,541 people died in April 2020 alone. An increase of 17,850 on the 5-year average.
An increase. Those numbers. We just got to absorb the truth. And it's okay. What's happened has happened. This is war. What's important is we acknowledge what has taken place. And that's what I'm trying to get at with these individual situations, because, if we're just vastly not addressing them and just, okay, then even as people or our loved ones pass, are we even going to gather the proper information that led to their deaths to actually properly acknowledge the war tactics that were used? It is a crucial moment in time. 5th generation warfare. It's like very sly, deceiving tactics. And the fact we've all fallen prey to one degree or another, it's okay. It's just important that we acknowledge. I'm kind of going on a merry-go-round here. Very repetitive. I apologize. Let's just continue. But I hope you understand my plea here.
That's an awful lot of excess deaths in just 1 month. What happened? They were given midazolam. That's what happened. But you weren't told, were you? And neither were they. Midazolam is a very strong sedative, used, among other things, to relieve anxiety and fear. It is also used in lethal injections in the US, combined with 2 other drugs. The NHS workers were told to ease the suffering of the patients who were removed from their hospital beds and were now in their care home beds. Most of them had respiratory problems, so wouldn't it be nice to give them an intravenous cocktail of morphine and midazolam? Sounds sweet, doesn't it? Well, it wasn't. You see, midazolam affects the central nervous system, and thus a person's breathing.
Right. And then, of course, they blame it on the COVID. Wow. And continue these protocols. I actually know one individual, both her parents, in the same home. I just don't know if they gathered the proper autopsy and information due to the other family members that were pro and pushing for and supporting these care facilities. Man, it's just so crucial we gather the information while we have the window of opportunity to do so. But if we can't break through to those certain individuals, I so desperately want to come up with the most loving, caring, powerful hitting, eye-opening. You can't ignore the actual facts of the matter. I mean, it's these episodes in and of themselves. I am so grateful for Janet. And it's together. It's with your help. That's how we do it.
Midazolam is the last drug on earth.
You know how we also do it? I'm sorry. We'll continue just in a second. Just a quick note. We shift the paradigm. More people talk about the destructive nature and start bringing that full circle. So the echo chamber no longer, and I believe we've slowly been achieving that. We just need to we need to speed it up, because obviously time just keeps going by. And more, I mean, just think about it. Let's say RFK is going to help become the solution, but we're looking late January. If we're going to be faced, who knows what until then. But I mean, think about it. Worldwide, there could be 1 billion shots administered between now and then, from flu vaccinations, RSV, childhood vaccine schedule, COVID itself. Like, it's worth ramping up and doing everything we can to save one of those lives. Just one.
This patient should have been given. It causes shallow, slowed, or temporarily stopped breathing that may lead to permanent brain injury or death.
Wow.
Furthermore, midazolam is dangerous for elderly patients in general. Also for those who don't even have breathing problems. If given at all, it should be done at a very low dosage. This is what would have been safe, according to a policy that was in place before the COVID-19
0.25.
outbreak scam. A dosage for the elderly should not be greater than 0.5 milligram, max 1 milligram. However, during the outbreak, this policy was changed into the following: a starting dose of 2.5 milligrams.
Oh, get out of
and,
here.
if necessary, pump it up to 5 or even 10 milligrams.
Oh my gosh.
Who on earth changed these policies? The same people who had
Good
those
question.
thousands of patients removed from hospitals to care homes. The same who advised administering midazolam in the first place. The same who knew damn well what the effects
The
would be.
Cabal.
The very same who ordered insane amounts of midazolam at the beginning of 2020. So much so, it had to be imported from France. That's right, a 2-year supply of a killer drug was imported from France. It was all used up by October of that same year. Not as part of the anesthesia during surgery, as was the official explanation. There were no surgeries during these COVID months.
Wow.
They were postponed by the same criminals, guilty of genocide of 26,500 people who died in April 2020 alone in care homes.
If we fully grasp that, there would be nowhere this cabal could hide. Now, let's put names or faces to the cabal. It's truly the World Economic Forum, the WHO, the UN. Those are all tools of the cabal. But if you really honed in on the families, it's the Rockefellers, it's the Rothschilds, 100%. And the institutions, everything. Like, we could look into Davos. They're pretty much meeting up, these world elites. You got to be a multi-billionaire basically to even get the golden ticket to go to these. And they're plotting out essentially what's going to take place over this next year. It's an annual meeting. These elites, and that's not even including the actual rituals, the meetings they have in private. Those are just the public, the ones we know of. Yeah, we truly grasp this. We would set down everything our life has us busy-bodied, engaging in day after day, and truly address this. After it's properly addressed, then we can get back to a more flourishing, thriving personal life. Because when that house of cards falls, so does the IRS, so does just the cage and the chains that they've created in our minds, in our society. Oh, it'd be so liberating.
Those people choked to death. Midazolam side effect, significant depression of respiration, killed them. They suffocated. What was written on their death certificates? Cause of death, COVID-19.
Come on now. Wow.
Who are the criminals behind this evil scheme? Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, Matt Hancock. GP and Member of Parliament, Dr. Luke Evans. And the Department of Health. Here they are, deliberating their midazolam stockpile to make sure they were ready for the kill.
A good death needs three things. It needs equipment, it needs medication, and it needs the staff to administer it. So in terms of equipment, a few quick questions. Do you have enough syringe drivers in the NHS to deliver medications to keep people comfortable when they're passing away?
Yes, right now we do.
And the second one is with that's the syringe drivers deliver medication, particularly things like midazolam and morphine. Do you have any precautions put in place to make sure we have enough of those medications to be delivered?
Yes. We've got a big project to make sure that those sorts of medications, as well as the ITU medications that I spoke about earlier, that the supply chains, the global supply chains for those medicines are clear.
The so-called good death Hancock and Evans talked about means euthanasia. What you just witnessed was part of a parliamentary committee meeting in which euthanizing the elderly in care homes by means of midazolam and morphine was openly dealt with. Did they act on their own accord? Of course not. The Department of Health, Prime Minister Boris Johnson, each and every puppet of the cabal presently seated in the British government were part of this grand euthanasia scheme of the elderly.
They're touching on a lot in the UK. What about Gavin Newsom right here in the States, and so many other individuals used to this same extent?
Part of the global sustainable development goals and thus the depopulation agenda. Shocking to see it in action, isn't it? Yet another must they pushed down the throats of the NHS workers was to add a do not resuscitate notice on the files of the care home residents. If their hearts or lungs stopped working, that was it. No resuscitation, please, as that did not exactly fit the depopulation agenda. Just let them die, the useless eaters. Oh, and of course, nobody told the residents or their loved ones a thing.
Right.
The 3 weeks the authorities needed to flatten the curve was invented to intentionally end the lives of 26,500 people. That's why the British people had to stay home. Not to protect the NHS or to save lives, but to let the cabal execute their evil euthanasia program. This didn't just happen in the UK. It happened in Australia, the US, and in many other countries. When Wayne Smith unravelled the midazolam scandal after his father died in his care home, he exposed what he'd found. He was subsequently found dead in his home in August 21.
Get out of here. She just covered in yesterday's episode, in the two we went through, hundreds of doctors that were murdered and suicided when they were exposing similar things regarding the COVID hoax. It's how they were able to silence ones standing up right out the gate to build more momentum, and it achieved a higher outcome to their agenda.
Rest in peace, Wayne Smith,
So clear.
and all midazolam victims.
Yes.
You will be remembered.
Wow. Crazy.
Back to our storyline of fake pandemics and corrupt politicians. Face masks were introduced. An insane measure, as any virologist could have told you.
Very insane.
You see, a virus is so eeny-weeny.
Look at that. Eeny weeny. In the face mask material. Come on now. That analogy right here. Wearing a face mask to protect yourself, it literally is like erecting a chain link fence in your backyard to stop mosquitoes from coming in. It's insane. Completely illogical.
Tiny. It goes straight through the fabric of any type of face mask. It's like trying to keep the mosquitoes
there
out
it is.
by putting up a wire netting fence.
I like it. There it is.
The cabal was laughing in our face. The CDC, NIH, the WHO, the Dutch RIVM, they all admitted on camera that face masks are not effective against viruses.
Right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
You're sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask.
Unbelievable.
When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is.
Wear 2 masks, 3 masks, 4
Fauci
masks.
later changed his opinion.
Right.
Now recommending people to wear 2 or even 3 masks on top of each other.
Gosh.
When he was confronted with his earlier statements about face masks being useless, he stated that he had lied. Why? Because he was afraid there would be a shortage of surgical masks if everybody would stop buying them. In order to keep the doctors safe, he had lied to the people, which means that if he did believe the masks worked, he just didn't care that people died, as long as the doctors kept living? Interesting statement.
Yes.
But, as it turned out, Fauci wasn't lying. At least, not that time.
Should you wear a mask if you're healthy?
No.
Wow.
That's right. He really said it.
Should you wear a mask if you're healthy?
No.
Right.
Het instituut toont dat ongeveer
ramp up
200.000 personen tenminste een week een mondkapje moeten dragen om misschien, en dan zeg ik nog misschien erbij, één geval van besmetting te voorkomen, van overdracht te voorkomen. Dus een buitengewoon klein effect weten we momenteel.
Omdat er vanuit medisch oogpunt geen bewezen effectiviteit is van mondkapjes, heeft het kabinet besloten dat er geen landelijke verplichting komt voor het dragen van niet-medische mondkapjes.
This is crucial. This is a monumental moment to build up the hype for their death shot, for their murderous hospital protocols. They needed to ramp it all up, and they got behind. They threatened businesses to enforce these illegal criminal mandates. And kind of the worst part of it, too many of us complied, because had we saw inevitably they tried to continue it, but once enough of us weren't complying, that's what put an end to it. So if we wouldn't have complied, enough of us out the gate, it would have stopped it right there in its tracks. And we need to fully grasp that for if they actually spin out, let's say, some type of virus or something that is in fact more deadly, or I mean, there's a lot of different strategies. They're trying to actually create climate change as the new pandemic, so it shifts the paradigm quite a bit in a sense. But this is good stuff, right? Janet does, I applaud Janet and, is it Cynthia? They do such good work, or did such good work. Help me fill her shoes. I need more of you to come forward. I need more. I need funding. 100%. Help us fill Janet's shoes.
Vanuit het Veiligheidsberaad kwam wel breed het verzoek om lokaal maatwerk gericht op gedragsbeïnvloeding, dus niet zozeer medisch gerelateerd, maar wel gericht op gedragsbeïnvloeding, om dat instrumentarium toch eens stevig onder de loep te nemen. En ook te kijken waar zou je mee kunnen experimenteren. Waaronder dus ook bijvoorbeeld met mondkapjes. Maar dan gaat het vooral over nieuwe methoden gericht op gedragsbeïnvloeding en ook te bemeten op het effect.
Wow.
There was no pandemic. It was all just a behavioral experiment.
Right.
That's why policies changed, time and again. Not because they made sense.
Oh my gosh.
Not because they were backed up by new scientific discoveries.
Did you catch that?
How?
That was too good. That was too good.
Because they made
okay,
sense.
well, so right here, 6 foot safe, 6 foot safe. Not even 30 minutes later, you're packed in there like a bunch of animals just right next to each other. And then all of a sudden, magically, the peanuts and soda. Oh, it's safe because you're eating peanuts. You can pull your mask off or drink water. Unbelievable. The insanity. It's where we need to bring common sense, all these other things back in. What has what else has led up to this other than the fear porn, the war machine, the information, everything that led up to this moment? Well, we've been dumbed down to an extent with the fluoride they've continually put into water. There is irrefutable studies that prove fluoride lowers IQ and causes so many other issues. We've literally been dumbed down. But more than that, think of the poison in the food. There's a lot of things that have led to this, what they would call success. And the more we could hone in on that, it actually becomes a blessing more than protecting ourselves from this happening again type of thing, but actually breathing life and light back. We have an opportunity to propel ourselves higher than where we were pre-pandemic. I feel convicted in that if we seize this opportunity, this window we have right here, right now, to get to the root of these issues and see to it that the cabal falls in their whole house of cards.
Not because they were backed up by new scientific discoveries, but because they wanted to see how and to what extent they could manipulate people's behavior.
Right. Wow. Wow. Come on now. Behavioral and social science. Come on. Wow. NIH. World Economic Forum. Psychological experiment. Come on. Every one of these screenshots. Amazing.
What did it take for the people they so despised to change their behavior at the Cabal's command? How could they use fear as their ultimate tool to steer the useless eaters by a mere snap of their fingers? Like gods playing with their creation. Like cats playing with mice before finishing them off with one final blow.
Oh, man.
Do you want to see how quickly and how ugly things escalated?
Oh.
Then follow me to part 20.
Let's do it. Wow. You can't even make this stuff up from my personal life experience. It was literally earlier today I found out about someone very close to me that has been struggling for some time and more than likely isn't going to make it much longer. But what really pained me was that the amount of suffering this individual is enduring, the amount of surgeries this beautiful individual has endured. And it just really breaks my heart to hear that folks aren't even open to having these discussions. I mean, it could be anything else. It could literally be anything else. If we thought, oh my gosh, that construction job he had, and that, I knew that work environment wasn't good for him, and they'd be open to hear it and like, oh yeah, maybe, we can go after that company or something. But regarding this, due to the programming, due to the MK Ultra tactics, due to the fear porn, due to safe and effective, millions of times saying it over and over, the pressures, and then now the cognitive dissonance regarding it because you were coerced or manipulated, you got it yourself, or you even advocated on behalf of that individual to get it, and now to come to terms with that, I get it. It's very difficult, but we cannot allow that to be the reason we don't get to the root of the issue. Otherwise, why? Others, individuals, if you can't warn them, it's just like a child. You can't warn them to not touch the stove. They're gonna get burnt. Unfortunately, in this case, it's worse than just a burn. People are dying. You can't argue that. The VAERS reporting system shows numbers itself. Harvard came out with a study showing that's actually providing less than 1% of the real numbers. So the reality of this singular rollout, it's killed millions of us. And it seems that we haven't even seen the full effect, because just because one individual's okay today doesn't mean they're not going to start getting like heart issues or neurological issues or turbo cancers tomorrow that are all being directly correlated to that shot. But if all you do, and these individuals, all they do is tune into the talking heads, the same propagandist war machine that has stated safe and effective, they're not really gathering this information. They're not going to be given the blessing of seeing the truth. Let's try to bless lives together and figure out the proper ways of going about discussing these things to become more effective. Maybe it's through a whole other avenue of conversation. Then it shifts into this, and there's a 98% breakthrough rate we achieve through knowledge, through education, through unhacking, unprogramming so many individuals. I mean, the World Economic Forum stated it. They have the technology to control the masses, that humans are now hackable animals. I'd venture to say that more so would be a hacked individual that would be upset, even let's say like a Christian, be upset and shut down, spew hatred to someone showing up out of love, trying to, oh my gosh, like, please just consider that this is what has led to the suffering, and we got the information to back it up. Anyway, I digress. Let's go into part 2, because I believe Janet and Cynthia here is going to hit it out of the park for us yet again. Maybe the very answer I'm looking for. I mean, part 19 was powerful. Maybe 20 here is just going to blow out of the park for us all and just be that shining seed we need to plant. Yes, it did seem rather innocent at the time, but was it? Let's see how fear was used to subjugate people to the will of the few. Yeah.
It was all about influencing our behavior. In other words, it was, and still is, manipulation of the masses.
MK
They said it
Ultra.
in our face, but for some reason,
Yes.
the people didn't hear it. Once fear is struck, ears are closed. We, the people, were forced to wear face masks, even though they all knew they offered no protection whatsoever. The elite Cabal members and their puppets in high places pretend to wear masks, or they don't even bother at all. They are obviously above the law.
Look at this. Look at this.
We hope you realize that these Cabal members and puppets know very well that what we've said in our previous part is true. The SARS-CoV-2 virus has not been proven
Cabal
to exist
puppets.
because it doesn't exist. It is a common flu that was and is exploited to the fullest through their fear-mongering mainstream media. Do you really think they would risk their lives? Royalty? Hollywood celebrities? Politicians? Think again.
You know what? Maybe we'll put the two clips together. Imagine the TED Talk of Bill Gates stating, if we do a really good job through health services and vaccinations, we can lower the world population by 10 or 15%. Then we play the Dr. McCullough clip. It's 1 minute long. So in under 2 minutes, like, if that isn't enough for an individual, then you know what? I'm sorry. I tried. But the truth will really set you free and protect you and your children and your loved ones. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sow discord. I didn't mean to interrupt your day. Once again, like Janet has given throughout this series a couple different examples and images, and we're such visual creatures where like in front of the movie theater, there's a ticket booth, lady behind the window, one's in shock, one's happy because everyone's getting in her line. And what is the movie label? It's convenient lies that everyone's lined up for. And the lady that has the inconvenient truths is shocked and horrified, clearly, that no one's in her line. That's so true to what has taken place. So, yeah, Bill Gates, like when he says that, yeah, okay, through health services and vaccinations, words mean something to us. So we fell for health services like it was a good thing, like it was a positive thing. But common sense tells you that's not saving lives. Vaccinations, lowering the population by 10 or 15%, that's murdering people. That's murdering our loved ones. Wait a sec. That individual that I told, I get that's a really hard moment, but maybe it's just those 2 minutes. Please consider this and sit on it. And if you want full-fledged information on it, boom, here we go. Episode 17, 18, 19, 20. It's all right here. Janet, bless you, hon.
If there truly was a deadly virus out there,
Freaking
they would be the
puppets.
first
Evil.
to wear a mask, to wash their hands, to keep social distancing, and to self-quarantine.
Look at
They
this.
are showing you
Look
it
at
is
this. Everyone
all
get their
fake.
mask on. We're about to go live. Unbelievable. Only up to going live. Oh, we don't care. But
In
we
our
get,
home country,
Wow.
the royal family went on holiday in
Come
the midst of the
on.
pandemic.
Right.
After each and every Dutch citizen was urged to stay at home due to the ever-increasing risk.
I don't know if she touches on it. You remember the big parties and stuff like Barack Hussein Obama got caught doing after he even added his input? Everyone stay home. Everyone wear masks and diapers on your faces. Unbelievable.
Of catching COVID and dying. While enjoying the delights of Greece, they forgot to wear masks. How clumsy. In a time when their citizens were fined and even thrown in jail for forgetting to wear theirs.
Look at that. Ugh.
Oh, and then there was the famous wedding of our Minister of Justice and Security, Ferdinand Grapperhaus. This man is extremely strict and righteous. He makes sure there's 24/7 surveillance for everybody, and those who break the COVID rules are punished in ways they'll never forget.
I'm sick of the tyranny, folks.
He even said
Let's
on camera
go.
how he felt about people partying in these dangerous COVID times.
Frick these
Ik kan maar alleen maar één
individuals.
zeggen, als je nu in deze omstandigheden een huisfeest houdt waar gewoon iedereen het kan raden dat het niet mogelijk is om die 1,5 meter aan te houden, dan ben je stel ASO's. Ik zeg het gewoon keihard. Ben je echt
Should
een stel
be
ASO's,
behind
dan ben je een
bars
stel
at a
ASO's.
bare
Now,
minimum
this
for the
man
rest
got
of his
married
life.
and had a lovely party in a time of obliged face masks, social distancing, and a ban on partying in general.
Wow.
Our Minister of Justice and Security, that's right, the same man who allows the political pedo party and their nauseating manual to exist. The same man who, after much pressure from the citizens, set up a special committee to investigate satanic ritual child abuse in the
Wow.
Netherlands, a committee for which he appointed both the chair and the first member, with whom he concocted that their findings would first be shared with him before being presented to the House of Representatives,
true evil.
which means the committee is far from being independent. It is part of the Ministry of Justice, causing victims now not to come forward and testify, as they identified some of their rapists
Right.
and torturers as high government officials within that same ministry. The
Yes.
same man who now refuses to dissolve that committee and form a new one which is truly independent. That man, Ferdinand Grapperhaus, broke all the COVID rules at his own wedding and gave the Dutch citizens the finger.
Truly the
When they
devil's
got furious,
minions.
he apologized, gave a symbolic donation to the Red Cross, and paid a symbolic fine for one person, namely himself, instead of the entire gang.
Wow.
The man had obviously lost his mind. I mean, who on earth would hug his mother-in-law? Do realize that the Dutch Minister of Justice and Security now had a criminal record. In the Netherlands, you cannot have a job as a civil servant if you have a criminal record, unless you are the Minister of Justice. In that case, you just say sorry.
It's not a
Right after this inconvenient occurrence, Prime
They do not care about their hypocrisies. They care about their hierarchy. They don't care. They know with the war machine, they more so, and they have. They have been effective. No one has genuinely gone after them. We should... This is where it becomes far more important. This is why we're here. This is... Call me crazy, but this is far more important, I feel. It's crucial because you could see when they're willing to go to these lengths, they're just going to stop there. I mean, sure, we could roll the dice on our political parties and the whole illusion of choice, left versus right, and, but there is concerning donations coming from certain individuals and institutions that the only way we will genuinely see proper accountability is with all of us taking our roles to like the max extent seriously. That's it. Get organized, get loud, team, pull up. Like, we need everyone's thinking caps on to provide more solutions, clear paths to become just really heavy hitting. So much of these groups and individuals that are championing this, especially, the ones kicked out of the military that were plugged in. We'll give a plug to the Forgotten Soldiers. If you haven't checked out that podcast, check out what John and Scott are doing over there. It is phenomenal. And, but even with what they built out, have they built it out in a way to give the masses the evidence of what they're doing and to what extent? Not fully. So it's getting swept under the rug, and we're lacking presenting to the people like, look, we're doing all these things on your behalf and it's not getting anywhere. That should trigger. So help us organize that. We need funding. We need support. We have a direct Venmo, Cash App, GoFundMe, also buy me a coffee. Every little bit helps. Help us win this war. Help us secure our future together. Come guest on the podcast. All right, let's continue.
Minister Rutte sided with Grapperhaus. He defended him, so he didn't have to resign. Grapperhaus took the immediate opportunity to state he wanted to see if a convicted COVID violation could be taken off a criminal record. In general, of course, not just for himself. Well, maybe they're smarter than we give them credit for. You see, Grapperhaus's wedding scandal turned out to be a decoy, a distraction away from something he didn't want in the limelight. What happened? On June 27, 2020, investigative journalist platform Argos released their shocking audio documentary about satanic ritual child abuse in the Netherlands, which created quite a storm.
Wow.
Both the Dutch people and the House of Representatives insisted upon an official investigation into this horrific topic.
Oh my gosh.
But our Minister of Justice and Security didn't want that. God only knows why. Knowing that a simple no would not find favour, he used his wedding as a decoy. He turned it into a scandal by ignoring the COVID rules. I mean, do you really think he didn't know he'd be in trouble once those photos were seen by the people? And oh my, they were published in each and every magazine and newspaper you can think of.
Interesting. Truly the demonic demon puppets. Satan's so real, folks. Holy smokes.
Five days later, Grapperhaus quietly wrote a letter refusing to set up a committee to investigate satanic ritual child abuse.
Wow.
Instead of listening, as our Minister of Justice, for God's sake, to the horrific accounts of the victims who had stepped forward after hearing the Argos documentary and realizing they were not alone, Grapperhaus denied them everything, indirectly calling them insane liars. But nobody noticed because of the wedding scandal.
Wow.
It was only because of some persistent people that Grapperhaus formed the committee that is now under fire. When Gideon van Meijeren spoke up for the victims and asked Grapperhaus why he refused to form a new committee independent of the Ministry of Justice, Grapperhaus was furious. When van Meijeren pointed out, once again, that some of the alleged offenders are working within his ministry, this was his response.
Dit accepteer ik niet. Dat zeg ik tegen de hele Kamer. Echt, ik accepteer het gewoon niet. Ik vind het schunnig.
Please stay safe, Gideon. You are one of the very few who give the people a voice.
Wow.
There are not many heroes out there, but you are definitely one of them. That's the Netherlands these days, my friends, with our own version of the bold and the beautiful. This artistic wall cost the Dutch taxpayer €200,000. A common joke in the Netherlands is, can somebody please throw a hit for a change?
Wow.
Back to our storyline. Like we said less than 10 minutes ago and in our previous episode, all of this was just a behavioral experiment. Phase 1 went just as they had expected. The majority of the population was now wearing a mask, like good, obedient citizens.
Jeez.
We, the people, were told to only buy the non-medical masks, as the real ones were only for surgeons to use. On the packaging of the non-medical masks, one can read they offer no protection against COVID-19 viruses.
Right.
But guess what? People obeyed. The majority of the people the Cabal so looked down upon complied with their ridiculous rules as part of their behavioral experiment, the new normal. This is a safe place, so you can take off your mask.
Yeah, right.
But when you need to go to the toilet and you stand up to leave your seat, you are highly contagious and you are in mortal danger. So you must put it back on.
Oh my gosh.
In our home country, it was the NS, Dutch Railways, that started the mask mandate. People who disobeyed were violently thrown out of the train, either by the ticket inspectors or by the police.
Wow. Sheer
to be
tyranny.
honest, we were not surprised, as it was the NS that deported the Jews to the death camps in World War II. The NS has always been more interested in profit than in ethics. What did surprise us was how easy it was to subjugate people to their will.
Right.
Instead of massively boycotting Dutch railways and bringing them to their knees by destroying their profits,
yeah, that would have been
complied.
Great.
The rules became weirder and weirder.
Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. Really?
We now had to wear a mask at the beach too. If all coronaviruses are spread via aerosols, meaning by exhaling, sneezing or coughing, wouldn't it all just disappear into thin air at the beach? But then again, who were we to question the capabilities of the doctors on TV or our government, who had our best interest at heart? So, wear your damn mask at the beach.
Wow.
Those who disobeyed were arrested and dragged into a police van, with violence if needed. After all, it was for your own health.
Unbelievable.
We could have known the doctors on TV were paid by those who made massive profits from the COVID project. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, and all the other so-called philanthropists we exposed in our previous parts.
Right.
Do you really think they would allow independent scientists to speak to the public? Of course not. The first thing they would say is, look, a virus is way too tiny to be withheld by a mask. They would show scientific evidence to prove it.
Right.
That was not the idea. The idea was to see how easy it was to terrify and suppress the people, to take all their freedoms away, one by one so they wouldn't notice it, and then finally to get rid of them once and for all. And it worked. fear kept them submissive and right where they belonged, bent and about to break under the oppression by the Cabal. As time went by, the warning signs were extended to shopping centres, parks, even to ancient sites.
Golly.
Now, it's not that we underestimate the importance of signs in general. Some things just need to be said, right? But, I mean, seriously? How old do they think we are, 5? Now, the strangest thing is that no efforts were made to collect and destroy the worn and thus contaminated masks. They were everywhere. Yet, the people went along as if it were the most natural thing in the world.
Right.
They had been successfully brainwashed into believing that COVID-19 was highly contagious and dangerous, yet contaminated masks did not have to be handled as such.
Can't believe we've all, to
No
an
questions
extent,
were asked.
fell so...
Even when these videos went viral on social media, people clung to the full security of their masks, like a
Right.
child clinging to its security blanket.
Unbelievable. We are so
Medical professionals stepped
manipulatable,
forward, warning people
or
about the dangers
malleable.
of wearing masks all the time.
Ugh, poor things. Wow. Wow.
They pointed out the chronic lack of oxygen that could cause fatigue, headaches, dizziness.
We ended up doing their job for them. So many people I knew barked at me. Why do you got to be so confrontational? It's like, why do you got to allow tyranny to, like, it doesn't end here and it's not leading to anywhere good, which it didn't. So it's like, what a humbling moment in time for us all. To kick pride and ego in the face, seek that meekness, that humility. That is where true blessings lie. That's where real growth takes place. When we just know and I'm right, you're wrong, safe and effective, like, don't even take my word for it. Like, do your own research. That's what's crucial. That's what we're trying. The other side would not say that unless they had full tyrannical control over every word on the internet, every word coming out from any outlets, which they control them. They control the majority still. However, free speech platforms are blowing up bigger than traditional media, which is a huge blessing. Let's continue that momentum.
I'm going to test oxygen level under a mask using
here
OSHA approved
Here we go.
air quality monitor that tests for oxygen levels, hazardous gas levels, LEL, CO, NH3, H2S, stuff like that. This monitor is bump tested every day. It's calibrated every 30 days. OSHA requires 19.5% oxygen to work in a space. Look it up. Normal oxygen levels is anywhere from 20 to 21, right in that area. So I'm gonna do a little test here. I'm gonna put the sampling tube at the corner of my mouth, and I'm not exerted, I'm just standing here. So we're gonna put it right here. That's going straight to the air quality monitor. 20.5. You can hear the alarm going off. That means that there is a hazardous atmosphere.
Within
we'll see what the
come on. That should have been mainstream news. Unbelievable.
If you're wondering about headaches and stuff like that, there's why. Because you're not getting enough oxygen.
Brain damage. Wow.
Lung specialists spoke up, warning us about the whole new type of lung disease.
By the way, just to those last imagery, that's actually smoke. Those are particles big enough in volume that we could see. You can't see these supposed nanovirus particles. Once again, that kind of proves the whole mosquito chain link fence type of thing.
They predicted would arise due to the inhalation of fibers in the masks. Please realize that face masks contain polymers, as in plastics,
Right.
awful to inhale
Oh, this
all
gets
day,
bad.
and even worse for the environment.
Right.
Or they contain PTFE, a carcinogen made from synthetic fluoride,
Terrible.
and linked to a variety of health issues, including cancer. The delusional madness of forcing children to wear face masks blatantly ignores expert warnings. The child needs the brain to learn, and the brain needs oxygen to function. We don't need a clinical study for that. This is simple, indisputable physiology. This well-known German neurologist and neurophysiologist, Dr. Marguerite Gries-Brison, warns of a tsunami of dementia years down the road because of oxygen deprivation from wearing masks today. Are you willing to risk your brain to scientifically unfounded, politically motivated mandates?
Oh, so
The
sad.
reinhalation of our exhaled air will without a doubt create oxygen deficiency and the flooding of carbon dioxide. We know that the human brain is very sensitive to oxygen deprivation. There are nerve cells, for example, in the hippocampus, that can't be longer than 3 minutes without oxygen. They cannot survive. The acute warning symptoms are headaches, drowsiness, dizziness, issues in concentration, slowing down of reaction time, reactions of the cognitive system. However, when you have chronic oxygen deprivation, all of those symptoms disappear because you get used to it. But your efficiency will remain impaired, and the undersupply of oxygen in your brain continues to progress.
Wow. Oh, wow. Janet, you're amazing.
Pediatricians step forward.
Oh, this is so
They were
sad.
convinced
Look
that
at
babies and
that.
infants wearing masks
Struggling
would
to
have retarded
breathe.
development in life
Look
due
at
to
this.
a chronic lack of oxygen.
Mouth wide open. Look at this infant. Oh my gosh. Come
They all
on,
warned us.
people.
Face masks could severely affect your ability to think clearly. It turned out they were right.
Now, I get it. These parents are actually showing how much they love their individual, like their children. They clearly love them a lot. What's sad to see is how they've been deceived into something that's actually, in doing something that's actually harmful to their child and not positively beneficial. It's breaks my heart. It's so crucial. The fact of the matter is, like, okay, we're past all this. Well, we didn't seek proper accountability. These same individuals are in positions of power. The same cabal infrastructure is still there. They're planning out next things. So it's like, until we fully address what is taking place, worse things are coming. That's a guarantee. So let's prepare for that. If we're not going to amass and address what has taken place historically, it is so relevant. And when you build up the information properly, then your eyes get open. You no longer get the flu shots. You no longer get your child to get these childhood vaccine schedule that is leading to autism, all sorts of issues. For frick's sake, if we just even abolish that, who's to say what the numbers would become with diabetes, everything. Would be great to find out, wouldn't it? But let's create the momentum. We could do that together. All right, there was a powerful... I mean, look how we were able to unify and break the cheating in their algorithms with the election. We could unify against these evildoers, these satanic beings. and take it out from the top. Oh, let's go. Please bless this platform. Share this as much as you can. Smash that like button. Drop comments. That's how we build momentum together. All right. It's how it works in this digital space. Follow Unmuzzled Chat on. In fact, it's James Geddes on Facebook. The link's below. Unmuzzled Chat on X, True Social, Instagram. I'm still figuring out all these stinking platforms. I tell you what, it's a lot of work. But I'm here for you. Let's go, folks. We got this together. Oh my gosh. Get out of here. Oh, and they had masks on under water jugs. Jiminy, a trash bag? Oh my, come on.
Some police officers...
You're blowing out the end of the pipe. Oh God, it didn't...
were unable to think clearly.
The insanity.
Even though medical exemptions from wearing a mask were allowed by the government,
really?
Quite a few of them couldn't remember that. Probably due to the lack of oxygen in their brains.
This pisses me off. Oh my gosh, if I was there, I'd be imprisoned.
You're fucked in the head! You're fucked!
Over a mask, you're gonna choke her out, put her on the ground.
What have I done? You just told me what the fuck I've done. What have I done wrong? You just keep
Yeah, but you're choking her. There's a man on a girl, and you choke her. For what? For a mask? For not having a mask? Look how pathetic you are. She doesn't have a mask. Are you serious? Are you serious just for not having...
Yeah, let's kill people because it'll protect them from themselves not wearing a mask. A freaking guy in a wheelchair. Guys, this is insanity. Never again. Never. Oh, breaks my heart. Get out of here. That looked like America. Jiminy crickets. Wow.
The Cabal had us right where they wanted us.
Right.
Unable to think straight. Paralyzed by fear. Just about ready to sell our souls for a redeeming solution to this great pandemic. We washed our hands a dozen times a day, using hand sanitizer, of course.
Nope.
Just like our leaders told us to.
Nope. They used all the celebrities, sports figures, false idols. Nothing to fear. We have nothing to fear.
It didn't matter that our skin started blistering.
Oh
it didn't matter that the hand sanitizer killed good germs too, the ones we need for a strong immune system. It didn't matter that those same hand sanitizers contain toxic methanol that, if absorbed by the skin in certain amounts, can lead to methanol poisoning with a variety of symptoms, ranging from headaches, nausea and dizziness, to vision problems, loss of consciousness, even death.
Oh wow, 4 deaths, wow.
It all didn't seem to matter as fear had taken over.
This is so crazy.
And leaders with solutions, no matter how insane, now had the faith of the people. The COVID rules and regulations made them...
Pinch me, folks. We lived this. We lived this. We went through... Unbelievable, right? Pinch me.
...feel safe.
Wow.
However, to the great dismay of the Cabal, more and more people stepped forward, uttering criticism about the COVID policies.
Good.
Some of them had put face masks under a microscope and found the disturbing presence of things that should not have been there.
Yeah.
What we are looking at here are called Morgellons.
Not good.
Morgellons are tiny fibers that cause something called Morgellons disease. Patients describe the feeling of something alive crawling and biting underneath their skin, like tiny insects. They often have nasty wounds that just won't heal.
Guys, check this out.
Some endure terrible itches. Many feel chronically exhausted and suffer from memory loss and confusion.
More
Their
gallons.
muscles ache, they have spasms, their liver is enlarged, their bone structure degenerates.
Wow.
Tiny fibers of different colors and black specks come crawling out of their skin.
Look at that. Look at that.
Doctors have absolutely no idea what they are and how they enter the body or how to get rid of them. For a long time,
Inhale
the
'em.
CDC's humble yet condescending opinion was that it was just a delusional parasitosis, meaning a parasite that only exists in one's imagination.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
But after a lot of incoming reports, the CDC decided to change the name from delusional parasitosis to an unexplained skin condition known as Morgellons.
Wow.
According to
Come
Dr.
on.
Hildegard Stanninger, who studied them for years, Morgellons are not parasites. They are 100% man-made through nanotechnology.
Holy smokes.
Now, the creepy
folks.
thing is, they can be found in places where you don't expect them. In chemtrail samples.
Yes.
Meaning they are sprayed down on us. In face masks.
Guys, I wonder, this is why I wrote this down to look into, because they've ramped it up out here in the wilderness, the chemtrails, like never before. And I'm dealing with boils still. I feel like it's Lyme related, but then again, you see things like this. Who's to say? But it wasn't just like they didn't find these man-made structures and masks like crazy. They also found them in the nasal swabs that they were swabbing your freaking brain with. Unbelievable, right?
No swabs
Oh.
and vaccines.
And in
You don't believe
vaccines.
us? Let us show you the
Golly.
evidence, which, by the way, is very easy to find.
Yes.
All you have to do is a little experiment. Let's start with a mask, shall we? Place the mask over a bowl of hot water, which resembles the effect of your exhalation, hot and moisture. Now put the mask under a microscope and behold,
Easy peasy.
Morgellons in your face mask.
Look at
Man-made nanobot technology fibers that behave like parasites, that are activated when you breathe into your mask because of your body heat, and that react to magnets. They do
Wow.
not burn when exposed to extreme heat. What's more, they move towards little pieces of food left behind in your mask. What the
Interesting.
are they doing in your face mask?
Right.
Do you realize that you actually inhale these things? Do we even know what they do once they are inside your lungs? The Dutch RIVM wrote about this enigma on its website. Yes, indeed there are nanoparticles in face masks, and we don't have a clue as to whether or not this has any negative effects on people. My, don't you just love their honesty? One would expect the people to wake up by now, right? We remember turning the TV on to see footage of millions of Dutch people burning their masks and celebrating their reclaimed unlimited access to oxygen. Now that even the RIVM had admitted something fishy was going on with those masks.
Oh my gosh.
But no. To our astonishment, we saw the same droning repetition of fear-mongering emphasis on the importance of face masks and social distancing.
Right.
Fear had struck. Insanity was the result. That it was
Yes.
all just a behavioral experiment was made excessively clear by fun little experiments such as these.
Wow.
What started off as a virus had turned into an IQ test.
Wow.
A societal rupture started to become visible. One group believed the official narrative, the other group did not, or was at least having some serious doubts. This rupture is only the beginning of the sad alienation
I
between
like that shirt. Hugs over masks.
not just within societies,
Oh,
but
God.
also within families and among friends. The believers could no longer identify with the disbelievers, and vice versa. The divide and conquer strategy of the
Right.
Cabal was once again.
That's it. You can't even make this stuff up. Like, just in the beginning, Janet. Oh my gosh, bless you. How? Once again, yes, trying to like come at it. An individual that is awake, that is in the know, that has done the research, you could go about it to where you're walking in the darkness. You're projecting evil and turmoil, discord, right? It's why we're to show up effectively in the fruit of the Spirit, effectively on behalf of love, loving thy neighbor as though you love yourself, so you're not stepping out. And if that individual wants to respond inappropriately and fall out of effectively loving thy neighbor, then, to put your hands up like, hey, look, I'm not going to go there. It's not about this divide and sowing discord. I'm trying to just show up and sound the alarm because I care about you and I want the best for you. And I believe this information would lead to that more effectively than the information you've been spoon-fed through MK Ultra tactics. Come on. Unbelievable. It's a very tough conversation to have. And wow, when you have individuals, mutual individuals suffering or now deceased, it's even more touchy. It's even harder to navigate. And it does, in a way, feel inappropriate to a degree, but it's like any other war tactic, whether it was a bullet, whether it was anything that would have taken this loved one, like, you could talk about the situation with them in depth. This just has become hypersensitive. Help us navigate this conversation so we can bring this divide into unity somehow. There's a way. I know it. It's like we're right there. We're right there. I feel it. I mean, it may unfortunately be for some individuals. It's not going to hit them till unfortunately they're in that deathbed, or I guess it needs to get darker for some. I don't know, but I don't feel like it has to go there, right? Do you feel me? Are you with me? Help me. Reach out. unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. Let's figure this out together. God bless you all.
Victorious.
Wow. Face masks, face covering masks, ancient tools used to break down people psychologically. It was the beginning of deleting individuality by covering people's noses and mouths. Their will and personality were broken. It made them submissive. Unbelievable. Think about the psyche. I mean, we're emotional creatures. There's facial expressions a lot of times in situations and responses. Not a word needs to be said when you can see the facial expression. It's like, boom, I feel you. Whole conversation was just had on a singular facial expression. And we imagine the psychological impacts from our children who are still trying to formulate words. Like, that's the earliest form of communication they understand. There's going to be great ramifications from this futuristic. I know it. Wow. Janet, you're amazing.
Was it enough to take away our identity, like they did in the old days with the slaves? Or did they have more in store for us? Let's find out in part 21.
21. Guys, what a blessing it is to go through all of this. I am so grateful for Rumble. I'm so grateful for this moment in time that we have free speech platforms to speak freely on. My goodness, how crucial is this? Join the conversation. Reach out to unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. I want to hear your story. If you've had any breakthroughs in these situations with loved ones, with this divide, whether it's your family, whether it's friends, please, we need your secrets. Oh, thank you. Guys, we're going to give a plug right here. Boom. The Forgotten Soldiers. So appreciative to John and Scott and everything they're doing, everything they're exposing, the personal stories they're bringing. To the COVID tyranny our soldiers experienced, from the criminal, illegal mandates, to the point these men were so in tune as to what was going on, they were willing to lose it all. And they did. And they got the boot. John's one of them. Scott's one of them. They fulfilled their oath. And to this day, they're continually a great sacrifice to themselves, showing up to help secure our futures, wake up the masses to what actually took place. Let's not repeat history and allow this to just be another unacceptable, egregious outcome that we accept. Let's seek proper accountability, proper restructuring, so this level of tyranny, this oppression we felt from our government itself never takes place again. Okay. That being said, I just want to give more praise and thanks to Janet and Cynthia. Is it Cynthia? Oh my gosh. I feel so bad. My brain. I need to write it down. Yes, Cynthia, right there. Please, if it isn't me, if it isn't Unmuzzled Chat, share the fall of the Cabal with the masses. Please. There's still a mass awakening to be had. And what better things to engage in than what we're actually faced with in this life? It's biblical, my friends. This is a spiritual battle at the root of it. Once again, we're visiting here. What truly matters, what we do, like it's, let's just say, the fact we're visiting here, when you really hone in and you see the big picture, at least for me, this mortal existence more so seems like the illusion in comparison to our spiritual, even the spiritual experiences we experience in this mortal existence. There was some recent prayers in a situation that was shared with me where miracles in a spiritual sense did take place. Like, you can't make this stuff up. So it's so real. When we're in tune and we gain the proper discernment, wow. And the distinction between the devil masquerading as God, as though he loves us, but he's there seeking to destroy us. When we gain that discernment and distinction, then we can actually gravitate towards our loving Creator. Let us gain that discernment. Let us gain that wisdom, the truth in this combination of books, none other than the Bible. And don't be fooled by man's manipulation of the Schofield Bible. Surprise, spoiler alert, Rockefellers or Rothschilds, it's like the same difference at this point. We're behind creating the Schofield Bible to lead Christians astray and manipulate God's word. Why wouldn't the devil do that? So let's go ahead and end with Jesus is calling. It's November 14th. Let's answer that call. And it states, bask in the luxury of being fully understood and unconditionally loved. Dare to see yourself as I see you, radiant in my righteousness, cleansed by my blood. Wow, through Jesus. I view you as the one I created you to be. Could you imagine at the end of this? That would be the ultimate compliment right there. I view you as the one I created you to be. As though that's what we fulfilled. That's it. The one you will be an actuality when heaven becomes your home. It is my life within you that is changing you from glory to glory. Rejoice in this mysterious miracle. Thank me continually for the amazing gift of my spirit within you. Try to depend on the help of the Spirit as you go through this day of life. Pause briefly. This is the answer. Integrate this with the information. Boom. Help me formulate that. That's what we're seeking. This combination with things like Janet's put together is the very answer. It's like coming to fruition live on this podcast. I'm so grateful for that. Gonna repeat. Try to depend on the help of the Spirit as you go through this day of life. Pause briefly from time to time so you can consult with the Holy One inside you. Not the demonic one. Cast those out in Jesus' name. They will flee and we will be left with the Holy One 100%. He will not force you to do his bidding. That's the distinction. The devil and all his minions are going to whisper lies and deceit, and more so tell you, forcing, censorship, manipulation, stopping misinformation, anti-Semitism, all that, forcing, infringing on our free agency. He will not force us to do his bidding, but he will guide you as you give him space in your life. Walk along this wondrous way of collaboration with my spirit. Amen to that. Wow, I needed that. I'm so grateful. All glory to God. I give this platform to our loving Creator in Jesus Christ. There are 4 scripture references. I challenge you to look them up. We have Psalm 34:5, 2 Corinthians 5:21, 2 Corinthians 3:18, Galatians 5:25. If we weren't about to hit the 2-hour mark, I would dive into those right now. So I hope that brightens your day and brings more conviction to the words we just read. I am so grateful for all that. I'm so grateful for our loving Creator and Jesus Christ paving a way for us when there was none. We didn't deserve it, but he gave it to us. Will we tap into that? Will we open that door to our spiritual salvation and what matters and fulfill, like land into our roles, receive also that ultimate compliment in the end? Well done, my child. We can't even imagine the grandeur, the beauty. I love you all. I hope this enlightened you. I hope this gave you some tools with that situation. I hope this inspires more individuals to reach out, to kind of collaborate on more effective ways on addressing these very sticky, challenging situations. They're continually happening. The more, just reach out to those that are losing loved ones. Find out about the situation. What are they dealing with? Is this being brought up? What's the outcome of it being brought up? It's very sticky. The devil has been too effective. Let's beat him back. Let's bear the armor of God and become warriors and not walking in fear. That being said, may our loving Creator bless you this beautiful day. I look forward to diving into more of Janet's work. I cannot wait. I hope you are excited as well. Until then, folks, take care of yourself.